Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 13th season of F1 Total, the first race of the 13th season in Division 2. Of course, we already had the Division 1 race a few days ago. And yeah, now we're here again for the Miami Grand Prix. We've got a 14-car grid as of now. Mihai should still be joining us midway through qualifying at some point. So yeah, it should be 15 cars tonight on the grid. And hopefully an exciting race in store. All dry, according to drivers. Thog, thank you for that one. And unfortunately, I am alone tonight. Just Phoenix 1 on the microphone for this race. Nemesis is... I'm not actually sure what he's doing. I'm gonna assume some kind of team event or something, because he does not do anything apart from play this game, so I will assume that he is racing for his team in some sort of competition. But yeah, he'll be back at some point during the season. I think he said 13th. We'll see if he's gonna be back by then, and then back for the rest of the season. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, Thunderfox as well said he might join the next few weeks. So I probably won't be alone all season. But for tonight, I am on my own. So I'm gonna do my best to catch all the action and lead you through it, keep you yeah, in the know, I guess, on Division 2. We've got the first car approaching a lap, which is Thog, who's gone to the barrier about 3 or 4 times there on his out lap. I'm gonna hope he doesn't have any damage, but I would say it's quite likely that he does have some damage picked up from that. I'm gonna have to turn my audio down a bit. The engine feels very loud. I'll just do this. I don't know which one of those changes the engine. There we go. Thog now starting a lap, heading down towards turn 1, braking just before the curve begins on the left-hand side. Doesn't quite nail the apex there, but now through turn 2 and 3, very easy to spin the car around. You have to be very careful with the throttle, as you can see him being as well. Not until full throttle, until he's pretty much out of turn 3. And now heading down towards this little S, left, right. Bit far from the apex there once again, and now left again. Very long left here, down to the first gear, straight off the track completely, but the game allows it. He seems to have lost time in doing that. Of course, purple sector 1, as he is the first one to complete the first sector. The target lap time for this race is a 1:28.100. That's what we would expect from a sort of midfield, lower midfield Division 1 driver. So again, I guess pole will be somewhere in the mid 127s, like a 27.5. I think that seems reasonable. We'll see how fast these guys can actually go, of course. It's been a while now that I've seen many of these drivers race. A few new faces as well in this race, actually. Only one, I think, driver that I have not seen race before, which is Darky? I'm gonna go with Darky. I'm not sure how to pronounce the XV. But yeah, I'll just go with Darky for today. If that's incorrect, feel free to correct me afterwards. Yeah, he's new to the league. He's been commentating as well in both the Realistic and Division 1 races. And the first lap session, a 28.860 from Thog. And we'll see if I can put him somewhere on a decent position in the grid. I don't think it's gonna be pole or anything. Desi back to the pit lane, no lap time completed here. We've got an Aston Martin behind that, and be Marcelio. Meanwhile, Mihai has also now joined the session. Marcelio putting in a 29.6, about 8 tenths back from Thog there. We've got a McLaren over line Allwise, a 38.0, not a great lap time at all. Probably some kind of major mistake on that one. We've got Sean Mull, the 27.749, the first driver in the 127s, and Pocho, the 28.7 on the mediums though, into second position. We also have an AlphaTauri there coming up to the line as Kutscher, but he is in Valde in his run. Both Alpines, Marco and Pocho, on mediums, 28.5, 28.7, so they will have a good amount of time to gain. The new driver in the league, Darky, he is in Valde in his first run, so he's gonna have to try again later. Ewek though, approaching the final corner here. His teammate Sean Mull currently on pole position. These two, I think, have been in the Williams every single season of Division 2, so yeah, tradition being upheld here, and over the line to 28.809 for Ewek. He puts himself into 4th between Pocho and Thog. About half a tenth the gap between him and Thog, 51 thousandths to be exact. Edwin coming around the final corner as well. and up to the line. His teammate always currently in last, and everyone goes into second at 27.894, for about 1.5 tenths off Sean Moore's pole position time. Let's see, it's Kutsho currently on a push lap. Doesn't quite look like he's not using ERS, so I'm gonna say this is a lap back in the pit lane. Darky once again on lap though. Oh, goes a bit off the track there, but he does keep the lap valid. Game deeming him to have lost time, so does not see the need to invalidate the lap time. And now Dia is open down towards the slow section of the track, turn 11 to 16. Very technical section. Very tricky section as well on the track limits. You can see the grandstand completely filled. And Darky with a decent line through here. Now the very important chicane doesn't cut the first part and doesn't cut the second part either, so he's being very careful with track limits. You can pretty much jump all over those curbs and get away with it and gain a lot of time. A 103.535 in the middle sector. Probably not going to be a pole position time, but it does look like a good enough lap from what I've seen. Of course, I didn't see the entire lap. I'm not sure how his first sector was. We'll see. Only one more corner to go. And very tricky as well. Have to nail an apex, and now on the exit there's almost no grip here. You have to be so careful to throttle. Around this entire track there's just no grip anywhere, it seems like. And over the line, it's a 29.384. So he is in between Thog and Marcelio with that one. We've got JM on the lap as well. Of course, one of the drivers that last season was in the championship fight, so he's one to look out for once again. He is moved to Mercedes for this season. His previous rival, Sean Moore, 27.749. And his other championship rival, Kevin, currently still in the pit lane, hasn't completed the lap. And JM with a 102.064 in the middle sector. That is a lot faster than we just saw from Darky. About 1.5 seconds faster, actually. And that would put him close to Sean Moore. So we'll see if JM can join Sean Moore and Edwin in the 127s. If he just gets his final corner right. That looked decent, at least. And now, very low on the gears in second gear. A bit of an all-stay moment. Might have cost him a tenth or so. But over the line, that's still enough for pole position. A 27.678 for JM. Always starting his run as well. Just coming through the first sector here. We've got an Alfa Romeo approaching the little lap, but this is Darkiness back to the pit lane. See a Red Bull behind that and be Desi. And he should be on a hot lap here. He hasn't put one in so far. Bit of a slide coming out of that technical section. And a 103.384 in the middle sector. We'll see where he can end up. That is similar to what Darky did earlier, so he'll probably be in that sort of area as well. Around P8, P9. Few drivers, of course, still have lap times yet to do. Kutsho and Kevin, as well as Mihai. Pinky actually has a qualifying ban, so he will not be completing a lap in this session. 29.111 from Desi, indeed. 9th position in between Thog and Darky. See Haas coming up to the line. Oh, that would be Thog on an outlap. Aston Martin met Marcelino on an outlap. And the McLaren behind that will be Owais. Up by a 10th in the middle sector, so he's looking to beat Marco Darko to that 4th position. He's also on very old soft tires, I believe. Let me check. Detail. Yeah, tire. He's on 3 lap old soft, so he's been doing a lot of laps in a row here. Just getting to groove in the track, I guess. And puts in a 28.631. Can't improve in the end, and that will probably be down to the tire wear we would have accumulated at this point. Tire drop off in this game quite extreme. I think it's not unlikely that he will improve a lot when he puts on a fresh tire again. So keep an eye on Owais. He might improve massively and maybe even join that front pack. I mean, it's about a second between him and JM, so maybe not quite that far, but I think he could get into the 127s if he nails the lap and has some fresh tires in the car. Fresh tires really do make a massive difference. Marco, invalidating, going through turn 7 and 8 there. Unfortunate for him. He's gonna probably go back to the pits and try again. Maybe go around one more time, recharge the battery. Well, yeah, for sure this lap will not be counting for anything. Marcelio, meanwhile, currently in 11th, a 29.6. The slowest of the ones who have completed the lap. We'll see if he's improving. Yes, massively! Up by almost 8 tenths in the middle sector. That will put him well into the 128s and in a sort of P7, P8 range there. Maybe even a bit further. Very careful on the brakes. Heading into the final corner. Over the curb and now on the exit. Putting the power down and down towards the line. Where can Marcelio go here? It's a 128.974. He's lost a bit of time in the final sector, but still, 9th position. He jumps both Desi and Darky. His teammate Mihai starting lap as well now. Kucho coming up in the final corner. Of course, one of the drivers last season as well that impressed quite a bit. A very, very fast driver. And we'll see him come up to the line. How fast is he today? This is a track that suits him. A 127.755. Very close there between Kucho and Sean Moole. 6 thousandths only separating them. That's Kucho into third, at least for now. 7 minutes to go though still, so plenty of laps still coming in. Pocho, 6 tenths up in the first sector already. Now we'll now see what he's doing in the second sector. And now 8.5 tenths up, or closer to 9 tenths actually. That should be a good time gain. As JM puts a new fast time, 27.490. That's a 3/10 gap between him and anyone else. JM looking really strong so far. And now we'll see if Pocho can get anywhere close than that, of course. Now his first lap on the soft compound. So a massive time gain, of course, was to be expected. It's a 27.691 second position, a full second gained for Pocho. And we can expect similar from Marco as well, of course. He did his previous best on the medium as well. So Marco, I mean, if he also gains a full second, he'll be very close to JM. So Alpine looking very strong at the minute. So Ewek goes very wide and does keep the lap valid. And he gained a lot of momentum there as well, so that might actually have gained him time, despite the game thinking it hasn't. The game seems to be a bit lenient on track limits in that particular corner. Seen it quite a few times now. The driver goes off the track there and just gets away with it. But, I mean, we don't police track limits. That is completely the game's responsibility. There's simply no way that, yeah, we could handle that sort of workload of policing track limits ourselves, and we don't want to start. Like, well, if we police one thing, we open Pandora's box and have to police everything, you know. So we simply let the game handle track limits. The only thing we ever remove is when you get a warning for being pushed off track or something like that. So if it's not self-inflicted, that we remove. But apart from that, if the game deems it legal, it's legal. Simple as that. In terms of track limits on this, of course. Quite a few other things that the game will not penalize. We do, of course, penalize. Edwin now has disconnected from the session. I'll quickly drop him an invite again, and hopefully he can get back in the lobby soon. There we go. Invite sent. Darky starting now lap now with about just under 4 minutes to go, or just under 5 minutes to go, sorry. He's the only one on the hot lap at a minute. Many people, many others in the pit lane just waiting for a bit longer, so you can go right at the end with the maximum amount of, yeah, track development. Edwin now back in, okay, that's nice. So he hasn't really lost anything from that disconnect either. He can simply go out one final time as well as everyone else. And once again, Darky goes off track, and this time the game does not, it's not as lenient as it was last time. The lap is invalidated. Darky will not be improving this time around. Desi starting around as well now. 29.111 his previous best. That has put him P11. And we'll see how far up the field he can go. Marco starting a lap as well. Of course, he was on the mediums earlier, so expect a big improvement coming from Marco. Keep an eye on Desi and Marco, those two other ones on a hot level right now. Darky on his way either back to the pits or maybe starting another run on the same tire. Desi invalidated just before the end of sector 1. He was up by 1.5 tenths, and even after that mistake, still 1.5 tenths, so probably even more time to be found in the first sector for him, but that lap will not count. And Marco, let's see, gaining by, oh, not as much as Pocho was in the first sector, but still 4 tenths gained for Marco. That alone will put him at 28.1, which is still P6, but of course still has plenty of track to gain some time at. And this one here, this part is especially important. So much time to be gained in these slow corners. Very crucial to get this one right. And then chicane, if you can nail the curbs, which Marco has done pretty well. Doesn't cut as nearly as much as you can, but of course you'd rather be a bit more careful and not have a track limit penalty. 5.5 tenths gain, or 5 and yeah, more like 5 3/4 of a 10th gain. So he's looking at a 127 here. Could put him into the top 5 if he nails the final sector. But the 1 second that Pocho gained, Marco cannot seem to match. And out of the final corner, we'll see. How far up the field can Marco go here? Over the line, it's a 127.784. He jumps Edwin and goes into 5th position. Very close there between Sean, Kucho and Marco. They're all in the 27.7s. But Marco is the last of them, and that will probably be his qualifying done as well. Not enough time, really, to get a fresh set of tires again. Darky up by 5/10 in the first sector on his run after the earlier mistake. A very good chicane there as well, it looked like. He might be on for a really strong lap here. We'll see. In the middle sector, he's up by 9/10. Yes, a massive improvement. And that could put him all the way into P7 if he just brings us over the line while matching his previous third sector. So we'll see how far up the field can go now. He's currently in 12th position, last of the ones who've put a lap in. But I'm sure there's more to come here. Of course, we saw the 9/10 improvement. It looked like a decent final corner as well. Now over the lines, a 1:28.431 indeed, in the 7th position for Darky. And I think he'll be very happy with that one. Now we have to wait and see what the others are doing. Thog up by 3/10 in the first sector. And he's the only one currently on a hot lap, so we'll stay on board with him. Just been let past one of the Alpines there, I believe it was. Or was it a Williams? I can't tell. They look too similar. Thog now with an invalidation. Goes too wide on the entry for the chicane. And that is his lap ruined. He has 1.5 minutes to go. He can go around one more time, but he won't have much ES. So I'm not sure whether there's much potential left for him. Always now, once again. He was doing laps on the used softs earlier. I said keep an eye out on him. He might improve massively as well. Currently in 9th from the 28.602. But I think we are about to see a good improvement from him. Lifts a bit for the first S. And now into this long left-hander. Can he keep it on track? Yeah, very nicely. He's a bit careful on the track limits, but rather careful than invalidated. And he's up by about 1.5 tenths there in the first sector. And that alone will already put him into 7th, I believe. Or at least close to Darky. So yeah, always with a good start to his lap, exactly what he needs. Ewek on the lap as well. And he is up by a full 4 tenths. Massive improvement in the first sector from Ewek. Pocho is out of the session. He is crashed coming out of turn 2. We'll see if we can catch him with Sean Moore here. And Pocho on the left hand side there. I guess he's crashed into the inside barrier and ping-ponged back over to the left. And all the front runners on laps as well. Now we've got JM, Sean Moore, Kucho in quick succession. Meanwhile, I think the closest to finishing one is Owise. So we'll go on board with him. Coming up to the final corner. Following him will be Mihai. He's currently 14th without a lap time. So he will jump into at least 13th if that lap time that he's currently doing is at least valid. And Owise over the line at 28.122, 7th position. What about Mihai behind him? Is he on for a quick lap here? Over the lines a 1:28.766, 10th position. Following them would be the Williams of Ewek. Up by 2.5 tenths, lost a bit in the middle sector. And over the lines a 28.161, 8th position. And then, I believe, already Sean Moore up by 1.5 tenths. What about JM? Up by 1 tenth. What about Kucho? He's in the barrier. Kucho's done. Sean Moore is going to be crossing the line next. He's currently in 3rd. Can he take pole position away from JM? He needs a massive improvement. Can he find some time coming out of this final corner? Over the line. What's it going to be for Sean Moore? 27.456. That is pole position for now, but keep an eye on JM. Can he improve one more time to get pole position back here in this race? Yes, he can. 27.321. JM back on the position. Edwin getting a tow here from one of the Red Bulls. That would be... It must be Desi. Not sure if that was intentional. But Edwin through the final corner. Can he now gain enough time with that slipstream advantage that he had down the back straight? Over the line, 27.341. He cannot. He does go to 2nd place. 20 thousandths to be gained. Or 20 thousandths in between him and JM. Very close there at the front. It is JM, followed by Edwin and Sean Moore. Pocho in 4th, Kucho in 5th. Marco in 6th, Owise in 7th, Ewek in 8th, Darky in 9th, and Thog rounding out the top 10. Mihai and Marcelio, the 2 Aston Martins, in 11th and 12th. Desi in 13th, and then Pinky serving as qualifying ban in 14th, and Kevin didn't go out the entire qualifying session, starting in last position. He does not have a qualifying ban, so he's done this voluntarily. So yeah, we're now in for a looks to be a very, very exciting race. Looking at these qualifying gaps, especially the top 2, very close, but in general the whole field rather close here. Just under 5/10 separating the top 6, and the sort of track that Miami is, I think we might be seeing a few safety cars as well, which will bunch the field up once again. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this Grand Prix. I would expect mostly medium-hard strategies. I believe the medium-soft is an option. As in, you can do it, but it is not particularly fast, so yeah, you would be reliant on safety cars, I believe, to make that one work. So yeah, we'll see what drivers go for at the start, but that's gonna be mediums, hards, softs. They have a lot of options to pick between. And we'll see which option ends up being the best one. Or which driver makes the best of the option that they chose. But yeah. Full dry race as well, as said earlier, so no sort of weather surprises that can really play a factor in this race. So yeah, drivers are just gonna be making any last minute changes to their strategy, adjusting the fuel load, maybe some setup changes as well, of course. We are under Park for May, but they can change a few things, the brake bias, tire pressures, the front wing. I believe that's about it. Differential maybe, I'm not sure. But yeah. Looking forward to the race now. Should be starting soonish. Of course, no time unfortunately for the spectator. I just have to wait here and yeah, until the lights just appear at some point. And yeah, hopefully an exciting season. The first round, always a few surprises, I would say, inbound, slowly. Maybe some different championship contenders this season. Well, the past 2 seasons, both Kevin and Sean won the championship fight, with a few others in there as well. But now, the 5 lights are on, we're ready for the race start. And it's lights out, and away we go. JM on the right-hand side on pole position, getting away decently. But Edwin is alongside heading to turn 1. Edwin and JM battling, going through turn 1. JM goes a bit wide, and that allows Edwin to now swoop past him into the lead of the race. Mihai's got a penalty for a severe collision with Owais. Meanwhile, Edwin now into the lead, followed by JM, then Shawmu, Pocho and Marco in 4th and 5th. Kucho in 6th, and then a massive gap to the Aston Martins of Marcelio and Mihai. So there must have been quite a bit of chaos in the back for those two to make up so many places, and have such a massive gap as well. And Mihai seems to have some major wing damage. He's being passed by a lot of cars here. Everyone just trying to go around him, and then Desi with no front wing as well. So there's definitely been some amount of incidents towards the back end of the field. And now Owais trying to make his way past Mihai as well. Pinky at the same time. Kevin with a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. He has apparently made a legal overtake on someone. Probably some sort of avoiding action. Unfortunately, we cannot remove that penalty. It's going to be serving it in the pit lane. Marcelino with a 5-second penalty for corner cutting as well. Same as Kevin. But at the front, still Edwin leading from JM. Yeah, the biggest winners from this start, Marcelino and Kevin. Although Kevin with that 5-second penalty, I'm not sure you can really define him as a winner. And indeed, mostly mediums, a few hards, no soft tires used at all. As Ewek gets past Desi, of course, Desi with no front wing at all. Surprised to hang on so well. He's still running in 12th. As, Mihai goes completely off the track, heading into the final corner. He's fully missed his braking point. Thankfully has not hit anyone else. But of course, now a few pit stops. Desi, Pinky, Owais, all in, and Mihai will probably follow them. So yeah, the top 11 still on track. Mihai now speeding the pit lane as well. Adding further insult to injury for his, not ideal start, I would say. As Edwin is trying to break away from Jam, himself is trying to break away from Shawmu, trying to break that DRS would be crucial if you can get rid of them and drive off into sunset, but the DRS will be activated next lap. And the minute the top 6 are all within DRS range to each other, and that will allow them to stay close. Marcelio chasing behind, 2.2 seconds the gap. And then Darky, Thog and Kevin, who is on the back of Thog here, might try and set a move on the Haas driver. Kevin, of course, having to do a comeback drive after starting from last position. Sean Moon is now dropped out of the ES finish to JM. Not ideal for him. But a long way to go in this race. He might, of course, yeah, there we go. He's already back in. He's just hovering outside that, so just outside that 1 second range. Mihai with another crash in the first sector here. Once again, he's lost his front wing, his entire front wing this time around. And he has to pit again. He's gonna have to do almost a full lap with no wing, and he has to pit then. He might actually end up a lap down. Yeah, by the time you start lap 4, which is not great. DRS now enabled, and we'll have to wait and see. Potro is as well, only barely hanging to the DRS of Sean Moore, himself is barely hanging to the back of JM. So it seems like JM and Edwin have some very strong pace here at the opening few laps of this race. Oh, mistake from Sean Moore, and that will be JM and Edwin gone. And Potro safely onto the back of Sean. So now Sean has an uphill battle to try and fight back into the DRS range of the guys ahead. He's also burnt a lot more ERS than JM. JM almost the full battery still, while Sean Moore is at about 25% here. So yeah, not the start that Sean Moore would have wanted. Now Potro might try and go for the move here. Yes, Potro up the inside and past the Williams onto the podium positions. He's now also probably going to try and chase after JM and Edwin so he can secure that position, get that DRS, help defend against Sean Moore. Otherwise he might end up being re-overtaken very quickly. But Potro has done it, yes, he's already back into the DRS range. He's caught a lot of time in that middle sector, in that slow sector section of the track. Mihai retiring in the pit lane. He is deciding he's done. And at this point, I mean, it's only been 3 laps, but it was such a disastrous 3 laps for him. I can't really blame him even. I probably would have retired as well at that point. Kevin got past Thog at some point, which we missed while I was watching the action at the front. Kevin now setting his sights on the next opponent, Darky ahead of him. Kevin also has underfueled the car. You can see the yellow fuel light, so he is gone lower than the game suggested. He's at a minus 0.18, and that's Thog into the pit lane. Quite early, so must be a wing change. Otherwise, you would not be pitting at this point. Keep an eye on the gaps as well and don't miss any overtakes. Yes, we can watch this pit stop real quick. And indeed, a wing change and a change onto a second set of fresh mediums. So at least one more pit stop coming for Thog. And no more fresh mediums as well for him now. So his strategy now has to be either medium hard or medium soft to go to the end. He does not have any more fresh mediums. So in the case of a safety car, he cannot use those as JM now makes the move on Edwin. And he's up into P1. Marco getting past Sean as well, up into 4th. Sean dropping back in these early stages of the race. He's been passed by both Alpines, and Kucho pretty close behind him as well. Hounding him for that 5th position now. Sean Moore seems to be struggling a bit, although now he's alongside Marco. That would have been a very interesting place in overtake, and Marco's lost a lot of time to his teammate head from that. Doesn't have DNS either, so he's now very vulnerable to both Sean Moore and maybe Kucho as well. Heading to the final corner, Marco defends the middle of the track. Sean Moore goes to the outside line. And can Sean Moore go around the outside? There's still side by side. Marco late in the brakes on the inside, goes a bit deep. And now Kucho switchbacking against Sean Moore down the main straight. Marco still leads from Sean Moore and Kucho behind them. And that should be Marco, at least for this straight. Still secured in 4th position. Potro is catching up the back of the leaders. Potro doing a good job here. Edwin got back past JM at some point. A lot of stuff going on here in the top 6. A lot of overtakes, a lot of battling. Lovely to see that. And hopefully that will continue all races. Pinky on the back of Thog, or alongside Thog I should say actually, into the final corner. Breaks early though, and lets Thog back ahead. Interesting. Doesn't decide to go for the move here. And he's probably too far behind now to go for the move into the final corner. Meanwhile, we've got JM burning a bit of ERS now, closing in on the back of that McLaren, and to the outside line. Simply drives past Edwin in the DRS zone. Edwin cannot defend. That is JM back into late. Sean Moore cannot find the gap against Marco. Kucho can't find the gap against Sean Moore. Kevin with the move on Darky, moving up into 8th. And we'll see if Darky tries to fight back on the next DRS straight. Yellow flags in the middle sector, and that is JM! JM has binned it in the slow section of the track here. Has he spun over the curb? What's he done? And he cannot get the car turned around. Now he's finally pointing the right direction again. He's dropped down to 10th position. From running in 2nd to 10th, and probably wing damage. As well as Marco and Sean Moore are fighting over 3rd. That is Marco round the outside of the final corner. And Marco into the pit lane it seemed. Or that's Potro into the pit lane. With a very early pit stop, so he might have made contact with JM. Yes, I see a wing change for Pocho, so what might have happened here is that Pocho went into the back of JM, spun him around and got himself wing damage. So that is Edwin. I mean, absolutely loving this. Sean Moore back into second all of a sudden now after, yeah, I talked about his bad start. I also see a, the red, what's that, the red light on the telemetry at the bottom for Marco. Is that he has to pit? I'm not sure, but he's going for the move on Sean Moore. Neither one seems to have DRS here. Oh, Sean Moore got it, okay. And now Sean Moore and Kucho as well, maybe. 3 wide, heading into the next corner. Oh, and Kucho into the barrier on the straight. But he's got past both anyway. Hopefully he hasn't picked up any damage from that. That would be a very, very unnecessary way to get damage. But anyway, that is Kucho in the second, Sean Moore in the third, and Marco in the fourth. Darky's got back past Kevin into 6th position. So Marco is practically pushing Sean through this chicane right here. Kucho already a good chunk ahead of them and trying to chase after Edwin, who of course going to try and build that gap at the front. 1.4 seconds in the moment, no one in his DRS, but if he can keep it that way, he'll be very, very happy. As Pinky has now finally gotten past Thog. Oh, but Thog goes into the back of him. Thankfully, Pinky keeps car under control. But that could have ended very badly. But as he come up to the next DRS straight, maybe Thog can try and move on Pinky again. Kevin getting past Darky as well for P6. I'm missing a lot of the action here. Difficult to stay on top of so many different battles happening all at once. Keeping an eye on the leads, keeping an eye on Kevin and Darky, keeping an eye on Thog and Pinky. Thog burning all his EAS here down to happen. And he has the inside line against Pinky. And is he gonna get ahead here? Pinky has to try and hang it all the way around the outside. Space given by Thog, very nice and respectful racing. And it is Thog back into P11. Pinky now with the DRS, maybe can he fight back into turn 1? Does not seem like it. Thog securing P11, at least for the moment. JM now getting past Ewek, who makes a mistake in the end of sector 1 there. JM back into 8th. Starting his comeback. Doesn't seem to have any damage, thankfully for him. And now Kucho on the back of Edwin, he has gotten to DRS range. They're both not, they're both not got too much energy left to work with. Edwin's a little bit more than Kucho. Sean Moore hasn't hung on to the DRS of Kucho. That could be crucial. Of course, Kucho now gaining a bit of time on the straight. Sean Moore may be vulnerable to Marco. But these top 4 do seem to have a massive advantage on the rest of the field right now. 5.6 seconds gap to Marcelino and growing as JM continues to make his way through the midfield here, up into 7th now. He's gotten past Darky and he's on the back of Kevin. Darky goes very deep. And into the pit lane, a very early stop from Darky. But it doesn't seem like he has any damage, so just a tactical stop. Is he going for a 2-stop maybe? I'm not sure. It's lap 8 is a very, very early stop. Well, as he picked up some damage and I haven't caught. Yes! Front wing change for Darky, that makes more sense. Onto the mediums. It's Marco once again on the back of Sean Moore. Sean Moore, oh, with a bit of a slide. Has he maybe gone to the barrier there? I'm not sure. I don't think he has. But he's certainly lost the place to Marco. And he's dropped down to 4th. And now JM on the back of Kevin. 2 championship rivals last season. In the end, neither of them won. It was Sean Moore. But JM simply flies past in the straight. Look at the advantage he has, the DRS, the system, the ERS, everything. And Kevin cannot defend in any way against that one. Maybe he can fight back on the next DRS straight, but it seems unlikely. I mean, JM might be running some very low wings compared to Kevin, seeing as how much faster he just was there. And he's now going to start chasing after Marcelino. Makes him back up into the top 5. Of course, the penalties in place when Marcelino and Kevin both having 5, JM is effectively already in P5. But if he wants to chase after the top 4 once again, he needs to get past Marcelino on track as well. Oh, a bit of lag going on there as Nessie goes into Darky. Not ideal at all, and it's because Mihai just left the session. There we go. I think we're now back to normal, but that was very, very confusing, I think. Marcelino into the pit lane, releasing JM into clean air. Marcelino, has he picked up damage, or is he reacting to Darky's pit stop maybe? To make sure he doesn't get undercut. I see a wing change again. There has to have been a single pit stop without a wing change so far. Of course, serving the 5 seconds, then changing the wing as well. This is going to be a very long and painful pit stop for Marcello. He'll drop, yeah, probably into last place, behind Darky, Allwise, and Desi, behind this little train right here. And indeed he will, and it won't even be particularly close. He'll be way behind with that penalty and wing change. Very unfortunate for Marcello, but still 20 laps to go, still a long way to go. You can recover. Of course, now the fresh tires can make up some ground. Scucho is very close to the back of Edwin here. Might be seeing a move for the lead. They've extended the gap to Marco by about 2 seconds as well now. So that gap ever growing. Marco and Sean Moore don't seem to have the same pace in this race at the moment. And now Kucho closing in on Edwin, burning some overtake. And on to the inside line, into the final corner as Kucho into the lead. As Sean Moore also gets past Marco for third position. So Edwin gonna try to fight back into turn 1. He's low on fuel, it seems. He has got the yellow fuel light on. And now to the inside line, Edwin heading to turn 1. Re-overtakes Kucho. Kucho still somewhere alongside there, into the corner. Edwin leaves in the space, fighting through sector 1 here, side by side through these little S's. And I think it's Edwin who's ended up on top. Yes, Edwin still in P1. Now that has allowed Sean and Marco to close in a little bit. And I'm sure they are absolutely loving what they're seeing ahead. Those two battling for position is exactly what they need if they want to get into that fight for the race lead once again. JM also about 9 seconds behind. There's a lot of ground to make up. We'll have to wait and see if he can come back into the fight for the podium. Of course, 1 safety car is all that I would need to make all of those seconds disappear and bring him right back into the fight as Marco retakes third position from Sean. Back onto the podium for Marco. These guys are going to keep switching positions quite often here, it seems. And once again, heading onto the next DRS straight. Is Kucho close enough to make a move on Edwin? Is Sean close enough to make a move on Marco? Kucho burning some overtake again. In the slipstream of the McLaren. DRS open. When is he going to pull out? And where is he going to pull out to? Edwin defending the outside. Kucho to the inside and simply flies past the McLaren. And now the same behind with Marco. Which being flown by... Oh yeah, Sean flying past Marco. Like that. There we go. Got it in the end. And Edwin diving into the pits, rather early pit stop, lap 10. And probably onto hard tires. Oh! Speeding penalty for Edwin! 5 seconds that will be added to his race time at the end, or served at his next pit stop. And he's gonna go onto the hard compound. Probably planning to go to the end. He's gonna come out probably behind Pocho, or just in front of him. It's gonna be close. You can see Pocho on the right hand side there, just going into turn 1 now. I think, yeah, Edwin has come out in front, so Edwin into 7th. And now he's got Ewek in front of him. Of course, Ewek has a very good reason to try and hold him up a bit, to allow Sean Moore to catch back up. Of course, that 5-second penalty is going to make it very difficult now for Edwin to win this race. He needs to get into the lead, he needs to drive out a 5-second gap. The tough ass as Darky is in the pit lane as well, dropping down to last position. No DRS, oh there we go, DRS now for Edwin, I was going to say. The DRS activates so late down the straight, I keep thinking people don't have DRS when they actually do. Anyway, JM now with the penalty, 3 seconds for multiple warnings, as Edwin goes for the move on Ewek, and Ewek on the old tires. Well, even if he wanted to, I don't think there was any way he could have defended that one. And now Edwin is already gaining so much time here in these first 3 corners of being ahead of Ewek. Those fresh tires, just a major advantage, and he's certainly going to come out in the lead. The question is by how much once these guys box. I mean, when are these guys in the box? Kucho not responding to the undercut. What about Marco and Sean? Marco's coming in. What about Sean? Also coming in. So Kucho, the last one out of the leading pack, still out on track, so he'll probably be undercut by all 3. Well then of course there's a tire advantage later on. And that is hard compound tires for Marco, and it's also hard compound tires for Sean. And they're gonna come out a bit further behind this train. Both of them behind Pocho, penalty for Thog there. Marco coming out just behind his teammate, and Sean Moore just behind Marco as well. Pinky into the pits, speeding as well, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Marcello just got past Desi, I believe. I missed that in all the pit lane action. Pocho now on the back of his teammate. Oh no, on the back of Ewek, sorry. Thought that got that completely wrong. We'll see if Pocho can make a move on the Williams. It's a bit of a tire advantage, 6 leveled hearts against 11 leveled mediums, and now burning the ES a bit. The DS open as well, and of course, alongside, on the inside, Ewek cannot hang on to that position. That is Pocho up into 5th. As Edwin is now caught on the back of Kevin. Yeah, these guys are gonna have to work through this traffic. And Edwin has gained a lot of time with that 1 lap undercut. And now once he gets past Kevin, he can start gaining even more time as he gets into some free air. And that will be Edwin past the Ferrari. At least I think so. He's got the he should be able to pull away now. Kucho in the pits. And another lap later than Sean and Marco. 2 laps later than Edwin, so he'll be undercut by a he's gonna have to lose a lot of time here. We'll see where he ends up. Probably behind Sean Moore even. Kucho coming out the pits now. The train driving past him on the right hand side as Marco and Ewek are battling into turn 1. Marco gets past him, and Kucho actually has come out just in between Marco and Pocho, and Marco going for an audacious move! Had to back out, that was so close to a massive accident. And now Ewek might slip back past Marco here. And no, he doesn't. Marco does stay ahead now. That was so close between Marco and Kucho, but Kucho now with a massive mistake, and Marco with a better exit might get past the AvaTauri and move up into 5th position. DRS for Marco. Kucho on the cold tires, gonna have to brake a bit earlier than Marco here, I think, despite Marco having DRS and of course more straight line speed because of it. I don't think Kucho can really hold on to this one. Yep, and there we go, Marco into 5th for now. And the next car up ahead is his teammate Pocho, so I wouldn't expect too much resistance. Can also have an eye on the penalties. It is 5 for Kevin, Edwin, and 3 for JM, Thok, and Pinky 5 as well, sorry. Edwin closing in on JM, who still has not made a pit stop, so JM going very long there on those mediums. Kevin on the hards, of course, was to be expected for him to be out a bit longer. Marco now with the move on his teammate Pocho, indeed not much resistance at all. But now the Kucho's behind him, there might be some resistance. Sean will getting past his teammate Ewek as well. We'll see. Kucho. Of course, Pocho's tires are a bit more effective still than the ones of the other drivers we were passing earlier. They all had those old mediums, 11, 12 laps old. Pocho has 8 lap old hards, which of course are going to be much slower than the fresh hards here. But probably still a bit more life left in them. And that might make it easier for him to defend against Kucho. Maybe hang on to DRS of Marco as well. Which would, of course, be crucial in defending against Kucho. All plays together like that. Now Pocho just about outside of DRS range. We'll see if he can still try and defend against Kucho. Would help his teammate a lot, I think. At the moment, Marco is maybe even on for a race win. Because of that penalty that Edwin has. Kevin and JM, of course, still have the pit. You can count those out in terms of the race win, at least for the moment. Kucho with a massive send! Oh no, he cannot get alongside. Thought about it, but that was simply too audacious, and that's Pocho still hang on to the 5th position for at least a little while longer. Edwin closing in quickly on JM, Marco closing in quickly on Kevin. And Marco might have to try and make a move now. He can't really afford to lose any amount of time behind Kevin. The gap is just under 5 seconds to Edwin. That's Kucho with the move on Pocho, Marco with the move on Kevin, both rather ordinary moves, simply flying past using the JM now into the pits, releasing Edwin into the lead. Kevin still staying out. Kevin, the last one, I think, now, Ewek as well. Kevin, Ewek, the only ones in this race now not to have made a pit stop. And Kevin is still in between Marco and Kucho. That will probably cost Kucho some time, which isn't ideal. And you can keep an eye on the gap between Edwin and the rest in the field. 4.5 seconds between Edwin and P2. Edwin needs that gap to go up to 5 if he wants to win this race. 14 laps to go. I think Edwin, I'm not sure if a safety car would be bad or good for him. He could pit and get the penalty sorted. But it would also eliminate the gap he has. So now with Kucho making a move on Kevin for a 3rd position on track. And Sean Moore also getting past Potro in the background there. A lot of moves happening all over field. Kutscher now in the DRS range of Marco. These two. Well, what's the play here? Are they going to start battling for second position, or will they start working together to get into that 5-second range of Edwin and stay in there as well? Marcelio and Always battling over 9. Marcelio with the DRS. Getting past in the straight. Making his way through the field here. Ewek also had made his first pit stop and he is dropped down to 11th. As Sean gets past Kevin. Up into 4th. Probably about time for Kevin to make a pit stop as well. Yes, there we go. Kevin into the pits. 13 laps to go. We'll see. Is he going to go for softs or mediums? He's gone quite long on these hards, so I wouldn't count out a hard-soft strategy, but we'll see what Kevin has gone for here. Nope, those are medium compound tires for Kevin, and he will of course have to solve the 5-second penalty he had. He will drop down, probably into this train of Marcelio, Owais and Ewek, just at the edge of the top 10. Kevin indeed coming out the pits right now, and the guys on the left-hand side, oh, there we go, on the right-hand side now with the camera switching positions. And Kevin is just behind, just in the middle of this train, behind Marcelio, in front of Owais. As Kutscher is closing in on Marco and making the move up into second place. No, he isn't. Marco defending nicely. Kutscher to switch back. And I think that answers my question from earlier. These guys are very much so battling rather than trying to close the gap on Edwin. Great news for Edwin. The gap is increasing more and more. Up to 6 seconds now as Kutscher is trying to find a way around Marco. Here Sean Moore closing in as well from behind. Kevin on those fresh mediums now, past Marcelio up into 8th. Making his way back in the field. Ewek getting past Owais for 10th. And now Kutscher getting past Marco for 2nd. So many overtakes happening all over the field. 13 laps to go in this race. 6.2 the gap between Edwin and Kutscher. It needs to be 5 seconds or less for Kutscher to win this race. Is Marco going to try and fight back against Kutscher in turn 1? He is not able to. Ewek against Marcelio seems like the next fight coming up here. I think Ewek in tire advantage. Should try and get past Aston Martin as soon as somehow possible. And now he needs a good exit. He's right on the back of the Aston Martin. DRS will be activated now. Fokker in the pit lane as well now on the 13-level medium, second stop of the evening, and Ewek on the inside line of Marcelio takes P8. They can maybe stay with Kevin and yeah, try and close the gap on the cars in front. 15 seconds from Kevin to JM. Fokker coming out in P12 here on fresh hards as Marco gets back past Kutscher. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that. Kutscher and Marco swapping places in the DRS. As Sean Moore is trying his best to stay with them. Of course, the gap to Edwin, also a very noteworthy factor. I have to say, I am positively surprised at the fact that there's been no safety cars. We've got Darky retiring now in the pit lane, I believe. That shouldn't cause one either. Kutscher now the once again flying past Marco. Marco trying to hang it around the outside, but that is simply not possible. With a good exit though, maybe he can come back into turn 1. He's very close to the back of the AlphaTauri. DRS open now. But I think Kutscher has straight enough speed to defend. Marco looking to the outside line. And indeed, Kutscher still hanging on to P2. But this battling is certainly not helping them in terms of getting closer and closer to Edwin. Potro now into the pits again. And he's going to come out in between this massive gap between JM and Kevin. He will come out in 6th. Or will he actually? Kevin approaching quickly into turn 1 here. Maybe Kevin will jump Potro. Could be close. No, there's Potro, a bit further ahead than Kevin. About 2.5 seconds, 2 seconds separating them. Yeah, 2 seconds separating them right now. Potro on cold tires now, but after that, once they are heated up, he should be faster. He has a slight tire advantage of 2 laps over Kevin. Marco now on the inside line of Kutscher. Once again, a battle going on between these two. Marco now trying to hang it all the way around the outside. Very audacious, but Kutscher defending it nicely. Not that many laps to go. We're on lap 18 of 29. And Edwin is doing what he needs to do. simply keeping that gap as large as possible so that the penalty will not cost him this race win. Marko now once again with the move on Kutsho. Side by side into the final corner. Edwin loving this. Kutsho breaking late, trying to hang around the outside. Marko defends nicely again. Kutsho has to settle for third place one more time. Diaz open now, heading to turn 1. Kutsho is not giving up on this. These guys are, battling in through every single corner. Honestly, I'm astonished that they are still staying, that the gap to Edwin is not widening faster than it is. It's still at about 6 seconds. I think if these two simply stop battling for like 2 laps, they'll be in within 5 seconds, but yeah. Oh, Marko now with a mistake! A massive mistake, he's caught it. Very good save from Marko there. And that might actually have been very good. Because now he cannot attack Kutsho, and Kutsho can eat into that gap of Edwin. Yes, the gap coming down. Now that Kutsho has got some clean air and Marko is being carried along. This is what they need. And the same for Sean Moon as well. Edwin is at risk of losing this podium even, because all 3 of these guys within the same DRS train have a good chance of getting into the 5-second gap. Because a train of cars will always be faster than a single car, because they are pulling each other along in the DRS, they are slingshotting past each other potentially as well. But right now Kutsho is simply pulling these guys along. Kutsho with amazing pace in the minute, eating into that gap, and now down to 5 seconds. Marko and Sean just hang on the back of him. This is what they would have needed this entire time along, but it might just still work out. 10 laps to go, and I mean, still quite some way to go actually. I mean, I said earlier it wasn't a lot to go, but that is a long time, 10 laps. A lot can still happen in this race. And Edwin, of course, sees that gap disappearing. The absolute worst thing he can imagine, I think, at this point. Can I open the gap to leader? At the moment, Kutsho would beat him, Marko and Sean Moore would not. So Edwin needs to hope that Marko can close this gap again and start battling against Kutsho. So they start losing time and that Edwin can hang on to the race win here. JM about 6.5 seconds behind. He has slightly fresher tires, but I don't think he's going to close that gap in the remaining laps. Then Pocho 14 seconds behind him. Also not much of a factor in terms of the fight for the podium, but Kevin and Pocho are pretty close together here. Might still be on for a fight over P6. Kevin still at the yellow fuel light. He's now at about 0.15, which is a bit low. I think earlier we had 0.20. So yeah, Kevin seems to be stabilizing to the fuel. We've got yellow flags for Owise, who spun around in Sector 1. Drops down out of the points into 12th. But doesn't seem to have any damage. Just a just a spin. Car is fine, but a lot of time lost, of course. There's now Thog on those fresh hearts, making a move for Pinky for 10th position on track. Let's quick look at the penalties. He already has 10th position on penalties. Oh, it goes in the back of Pinky. Some contact made, hopefully no damage on either car. Sean has lost the train of Marko and Kutsho. He's 1.6 seconds behind. So that is good news for Edwin. That should be at least P3 secured, if he can just bring this home. Meanwhile, we have Kevin all over the back of Pocho here. He might be able to try and go for a move on the Alpine up into 6th. Both with tough races so far. Kevin starting from last, had to make a comeback. Pocho the two-stop strategy after picking up damage. Likely in contact, or likely after contact with JM. JM now down to 4.5. He's gaining on Sean. He is very much so gaining. The penalty might cost him actually, because that gap is coming down quick. Marko's lost contact with Kutsho. He's not in the air anymore. Pinky now with 6 seconds of penalties. Always in the pits again. 19 lap old hearts. It only makes sense to pit at this point. He's putting on fresh softs. Probably gonna go for a fast lap attempt. But then the gap, I think the gap to catch back up is simply too big. He's gonna be stuck down in 13 for the rest of this race. And now we effectively have a bit of a time trialing competition between Edwin and Kutsho. 4.1 separating them right now. Edwin needs to bring that gap back up to 5. But in the last few laps, Kutsho has been consistently gaining. So not great news for Edwin. It looks like Kutsho has a very good chance of winning this race if all stays as it is. We still have Kevin on the back of Potro here. He doesn't seem to actually be able to... He's been close the last few laps every single time, but I haven't seen him actually go for the move. Might be recharging ERS to maybe go for it on the last lap, of course. They don't really have much reason. Well, he doesn't really have much reason to overtake Potro before the final lap. The gap to JM is so big that I don't think there's much hope of catching him. So why not just sit in the DRS, recharge ERS, and wait. Sean Moore now with a 3-second time penalty, and that puts him on equal footing with JM. And that means if JM can close that 2.5-second gap and overtake him, that will be for position. Pinky now in the pits, dropping off the points for, looks like a wing change, and some fresh medium tires. So a sparring partner for Owise, I guess, in the battle for, well, the wooden spoon in this race. Owise is actually well ahead of Pinky, the wing change costing him a lot of time there. The only battle on track happening right now is this one, Kevin against Potro. Kevin consistently about 7/10 back at the start of the straight, but then gaining, of course, in the DRS. But I do see JM still closing that gap to Sean. The medium tires and the hard tires both should be safely going to the end of the race. There shouldn't be any more pit stops in this Grand Prix. Fogg now with another 3-second time penalty. That is his second, he's now at 6 seconds. The gap between Kutschow and Edwin now down to 3.9. Kutschow doing a great job of just continuing to close that gap throughout this entire second stint after Edwin went for the undercut. And that 5-second penalty that Edwin got in the pit lane is going to cost him dearly. I think without that he'll be very safe in P1. Doesn't seem like Kutschow has much of a chance actually catching him on track. That penalty, yeah, will be the deciding factor in this race. At least that's what it seems like. Kevin's a bit closer to Potro this time around, but I think still too far to go for a move. Does also seem like Potro has a bit more straight line speed. He's gaining before the DRS is activated, but now that DRS is open, of course, Kevin is gaining back some time. You also have Thog on the back of Marcelio here in the battle for 9th. Thog with a 8-lap tire advantage, so he should be able to get past the Aston Martin. Now the DRS is open, of course. They're heading down into turn 11. But Thog does not have the overspeed he needs to get alongside the Aston Martin and has to stick in behind for another lap. We've got yellow flags ahead for Ewek, who spun around in the chicane. Scott going again, he's now still running in the 8th. He hasn't actually lost anything from that, just a lot of time. And his wing seems to be intact. No, the front right end plate is missing, I believe. Well, is it? I can't tell because the end plate is black, so it sort of blends in with the tire. But I think it's still on there. Yes, it's still on there. Okay, he's fine. Now Thog Marcelio battling into the final corner. Thog coming out ahead. Still, Kevin has not put a move on Potro. The gap between them and JM also stable. They've got 13 seconds either way. These two are, yeah, in no man's land here, running in 6th and 7th, all on their own. Meanwhile, we still have Sean Moore closing in on Marco, JM closing in on Sean Moore. So these three might end up in a battle at the end of the race. But of course, Marco with no time penalties, while both Sean and Jay have 3 seconds. So that will be a massive advantage in favor of Marco, as Pinky puts in a new fast in the race, beating Owise's previous best lap. It's a 1:30.1 for Pinky, and before that was a 30.4 for Owise. Gap between Kutschow and Edwin down to 2.5. Seems to be all hope lost for Edwin at this point. Not too many laps to go. Tire advantage Kutschow, gap coming down more and more. And he actually needs to gain 2.5. As Thog has now left the session. That's going to probably drop her out of the top 10 here. Marcelio, of course, immediately taking advantage and up into 9th. The AI is gonna be going around very, very slowly. I'm gonna quickly invite him back in. There we go. Invite sent. JM is now caught up to the back of Sean while I was doing sending out that invite. He's now in the DRS range. Sean is dropped back from Marco a bit, so might have been a mistake from Sean that's allowed JM to close the gap and now enter the fight for 4th position once again. So JM has actually done a great job of coming back from that incident that he had that sent him spinning, which I'm still not sure it was contact with Pocho or on his own. It seemed a weird coincidence that in the same lap that JM was spun around here, the car behind him, Pocho, had to change his wings, so it would only make sense that they made contact. But of course it could be a coincidence, I'm not sure. Maybe JM spun on his own and Pocho went into the wall, who knows. As JM now flying past Sean Moole on the backstraight here with DRS and moves up into 4th, and he might even set his sights on Marco. He's not too far in front, 1.5 seconds. But can he then gain the 3 seconds that he needs in these last 3 laps to actually get to the podium once the penalties are applied? There's he passed Foxwell, that's Fox now outside of the top 10. Very unfortunate, so late in the race, to lose out on what would have been a good points haul for him. Sean Moole trying to hang on to the back of JM, but he's struggling. You can tell he's down all the way down to 4th gear through the S section, so those 14 lap old hearts really struggling. Garrett and Edwin and Kucho opening up a bit again. We're back to 3 seconds. So Edwin is maybe putting a bit more, taking a bit more off those tires now at the end to try and get that gap to open up again, but is it a lost fight at this point? He needs to gain 2 seconds in 3 laps on a driver who has been gaining consistently this entire second stint, while also, of course, having fresher tires by 2 laps. It does all seem to be in favor of Kucho winning this Grand Prix. The gap to Marco is 7.3. I don't think Marco has much of a chance of getting P2 in this race. He might actually have to focus more on the cars behind him, on JM, on the fresher hearts closing in, but of course he has a penalty. Thog now dropping behind Owise as well. And still Kevin just following Pocho around, but now he's burning some oil takes. This is finally the time for Kevin to make the move. Yes, there we go. Flying past Pocho and DRS, and Kevin is finally moved up into 6th position. But of course, we'll have to wait and see if he can hang on to that. There's still a few laps to go. Pocho still has a few opportunities to get back at him. Fox now rejoined, and he's dropped from 9th to 12th, and he's lost a lot of time in those 3 laps. He was gone as well. Very unfortunate. Would have deserved some points in this race, but now it seems very unlikely that he'll get any. JM has reached the DRS range of Marco. Or has he? Yes, there we go. Once again, I've been caught out by this DRS on this trade starting so late. But yes, JM in DRS range to Marco ahead of him. And not too much time left to go in this race. Can he make the move and then build a 3-second gap to get the podium? It is going to be a very tough challenge to gain that much time in only 2 laps probably if he gets the move done right now, as Pocho gets back past Kevin. Only half a lap later, that's Pocho back up into 6th. Now, can JM put a move on Marco? He needs to get past immediately, and he needs to drive away immediately as well, if he wants to have any chance of having a podium in this race. Marco defends the inside, but no chance. JM simply flies past him on the DRS straight, and Marco cannot defend that in any way, even though he did try. Now with a bad exit from Marco as well, that should be JM safely ahead into turn 1. Marco's trying, he's burning ERS, using the DRS as well of course, but no chance. It is JM up into 3rd on track. And now, can JM start building a gap? I mean, so far, no, Marco is still all over the back of him. This might actually help Marco in some ways as well. He might get pulled along, and that could maybe, just maybe, speaking as fast as Fox as well, give him the chance to still get P2 in this race against Edwin. I mean, keep a look at the gap to leader. Oh, and Thok, I think he just took control in the middle of a corner and immediately understood into the wall. Yeah. That is... Yeah, I mean... and now he's out of the race. As Marco gets back past JM. Marco back up into third. So JM is not able to build a gap in the slightest. As Kevin gets back past Potro. The fight for 6th still very much on as well. 1.5 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Oh well, just over 1 lap to go actually, as Edwin is approaching the final corner. With Kutscher about 2 seconds behind him. You would need to gain 3 seconds on this last lap to get the race win. Seems very unlikely. And the same goes for JM against Marco. 3 seconds on the last lap to get P3. Potro and Kevin, the only fight on track that will actually count on track as well. Marco and JM, of course, the penalty is pretty much already decided. We have yellow flags in Sector 1. What's going on? Edwin has run out of fuel. Edwin has run out of fuel from the lead of the race. I mean, he wouldn't have won anyway with the time penalty, but yeah, that is just adding insult to injury. It won't even be a podium. He's gonna drop down so far in this race. Kutscher, of course, now easily winning the race. JM gets past him. And that will be Marco passed as well. And Edwin's gonna have to crawl around. He'll probably drop behind Kevin and Potro and maybe even Ewek. He will lose so much time here. Absolute nightmare for Edwin. As Marco is settling in behind JM, it seems. One more DRS straight to get that second position on track. Kevin and Potro. Yeah, they're already close to the back of Edwin. They will get him as well, rather easily. Potro turning off his DRS, so he might wait for the last DRS straight that's coming up here. Of course, we're also gonna have to keep an eye on Kutscher, who is approaching the final corner. And we'll give him the moment he deserves. A great drive from Kutscher. And he's gonna be our first race winner of the season in Division 2. And with that also, of course, takes the championship lead. Kutscher, your Division 2 Season 13 Round 1 Miami race winner. And over the line he goes into P1. JM over the line P2, but he will drop behind Marco into third. Keep an eye on Kevin and Potro. They're still fighting over 5th as Sean will cross the line in 4th. Potro can't get a move on Kevin, so that will be Kevin into 5th. Potro into 6th, and now Edwin crawling to the line. Will he hang on to 7th? Ewek is some way behind, so this might be the saving race for Edwin, and he can at least bring home 7th position. He does have a 5-second penalty and be applied as well. This could be close. He's crawling to the line. The car will not accelerate. Of course, there's no fuel in it. How would it accelerate? And up to the line, Edwin 7th, but Ewek, can he get within 5 seconds? It's gonna be close, I think. No, just about not. Just under 5/10 in the end. Ewek in 6th. Marcelio coming over the line in 9th. It is Desi in 10th position. The last points paying position. And then Always in 11th. Not far off Desi in the end. And Pinky. Did he keep the fastest lap? I think he did. Yes, Pinky the fastest lap in P12. And that has been the Miami Grand Prix, the opening round of Season 13 in Division 2. Yeah, solid race. Was enjoyable, especially the first stint. A lot of fighting going on. Kevin with the Driver of the Day award, of course, going from last to 5th, I think it was in the end. But a very, very well deserved race win for Kutscher. Great pace shown in that final stint to continually close the gap to Edwin. While Edwin, had fuel issues and I had not even caught until he actually ran out. And, what a start to the season that is. A podium as well for Marco and for JM in 2nd and 3rd. JM with a great comeback. Managing to still beat some of the other frontrunners after his incident, his spin in the first stint. To get himself a podium on the first race. And now we have it, your full results once again. Kutscher, followed by Marco and JM, then Schaumburg in 4th, Kevin in 5th, beating Potro to the line in 6th. Edwin running out of fuel in the last lap, dropping from 1st on track, would have been 2nd on penalties, all the way to 7th. Ewek just about not able to get Edwin with the 5-second penalty in 8th, Marcelio in 9th, and Desi rounding out top 10 with Always 11th, Pinky 12th in the fast lap, and then Thok Still classified, of course, 3 laps down, but he did DNF. Then Darky and Mihai in 14th and 15th, not finishing the race, and that has been the first round of F1 Total Division 2. I hope you enjoyed tonight's stream, and yeah, see you again on Saturday for Division 1. That will be the Qatar Grand Prix, and of course in 7 days the Qatar Grand Prix in Division 2. The Realistic Division as well in 6 days from now, which will be a different track, of course. The Realistic Division has its own calendar separate from Division 1 and 2. And yeah, in the Realistic Division, our next race will be Austria. All races, as always, at 7:30 p.m. UK. And with that, yeah, goodbye.